Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's Cutler here, the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, the Let's Talk to Cutler Virtual Book Club, and it is another Tuesday, and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be able to spend this time with a few of you all. So, as you're coming into the chat, just do me a favor, go ahead and speak to everybody. I won't be here very long this evening, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But I want to talk about celebrating the strength of family, how we do it, why we do it, and what makes it so important, what makes it so critical in our daily encounters, our daily circumstances, our daily scenarios, and our daily situations. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But just in case somebody's stopping by for the first time, let me do this as I always do. I always let people know that this station is about, or this platform is about inspiration, it's about motivation, and it's about challenging us to make sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Wow. All right. That really just, that touched the nerve. Making sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. Life just presents situations that you just sometimes can't do anything about. Sometimes you think you are prepared for life, and life throws you a curveball. Life may throw you a kind of ball, and you're thinking, all right, what do I do with this? And you do the very best that you can with it. Sometimes we hit a home run. Sometimes we just make it to first base. So sometimes you're thinking, all right, I can hit this ball. I can knock this ball out of the court and out of the park, and I'm going to make a home run. That's wonderful for the times that you do. But how about those times when all you can do is just swing and hit hard and make it to first base, and you get there and you feel safe and secure, and you just kind of stay there until you're ready to go on to second base. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But it is about making sure that we are intentional. We talk. We spend these 1,800 seconds because we talk and we are intentional about making sure that I showed up better today than I did yesterday, making sure that I'm deliberate and intentional about trying to show up better tomorrow than I did today. It doesn't mean that there was anything wrong with yesterday or anything wrong with today. It means that I'm intentional about being my best self and presenting my best self in all possible situations. And I think when we try to do that, when we rehearse that, when it becomes second nature, we're able to show up our authentic selves, and our authentic and organic selves is a best and a better version of ourselves with each passing day. You can be a better version of yourself with each passing day. Cutler, why do you say a better version of yourself? Because there's something that we would have gleaned and gained from the day before, from the moments before, from the weeks before, from the days before, even from the seconds before. All right. And again, I want to talk about that. As I prepare to talk about that, let me just invite those of you who are catching me for the very first time to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Once you subscribe, do me a favor, click on the notification bell. It lets you know whenever I've gone live. It lets you know whenever I have uploaded new content. So I want you to stay in touch. I want you to know what's going on. I want to do a shout out to the LTTC VIPs. Those of you who are over in the chat, I consider you the LTTC VIPs. And again, go and tell somebody, come on, let's talk to Cutler, because I'm typically here 1,800 seconds every Tuesday, but I'm not going to be here for 1,800 seconds this time. And again, I'll tell you why in just a moment. But again, as you're running to get somebody and tell them, come on, let's talk to Cutler, let me do a shout out to those of you that I see who landed over in the chat first. Those persons include Bobby Dunmore, Paula D, and Hazel Cradle. So thank you all for showing up. And of course, she's not among the first three to be there, but my mother, Annie Cutler, is also here. So listen, I want to chat with you all, and listen, go ahead and tell somebody, come on, and let's talk to Cutler. Why am I talking about celebrating the strength of family? I often talk about making sure that we show up our best selves, even in the worst of situations. And so I'll be very transparent, and that's why you'll understand why my dialogue may not be very, very long this evening. We'll see how it flows, because this is just purely organic, no script, nothing of the sort, but it's organic, and it is from a very transparent place. A few days ago, our family matriarch passed. She made a transition from this earthly form into eternal form, and that is my maternal grandmother, my mother's mother, who had lived for a wonderful 97 years, and her passing was totally unexpected. As a matter of fact, I was moving on, doing some things, and my mother called me and told me that my grandmother had passed. And so if you are in the chats and if you get a chance, please extend your condolences, not only to me, but please let my mother, Annie Cutler, know that she is in your thoughts. So if you get a chance and you can type and you can type while you're in the chat, please offer your condolences to her. I see some of you in the chat, and I see others of you just making your way over to the chat. So thank you all for being with me this evening. But I want to talk about why it's important to celebrate the strength of family. As we're talking about being the best version of ourselves, sometimes the best version of yourself shows up when you have somebody to pull or push you or take you there. I want to stop there. Sometimes the best version of yourself will show up when you have somebody to push or pull or take you there. When life throws these curveballs, you're not always prepared for what life is going to throw. So much like in a baseball game, when there's a pinch hitter, thank God that there are people who are sometimes pinch hitters for you, and be thankful when you can be a pinch hitter for somebody else. So when I learned about my grandmother's death and my grandmother's passing, I didn't necessarily think about myself, but I thought immediately about my mother. Sometimes when you're going through life and you're going through hurdles and challenges and trials and tribulations, don't just think about yourself first, but think about how it's going to impact other people, those people who are in your space, those people who are in your circle, those people who are part of your village. So make sure that you think about how it's going to impact other people first. And then make sure that you are offering yourself as a strength to somebody. Cutler, why would you say in the midst of trial, make sure that you're offering yourself as strength to somebody? Because I promise you, it is more than just a cliche. It's more than just what goes around comes around, but it is a principle that we reap what we sow. Of course, those Buddhists call it karma, but for me, it's just not about karma, but it is the principle of reaping what you sow. When you sow goodness, goodness has no other choice but to come back to you. And a lot of times we think about this within the reaping and sowing within the context of money. But can I promise you that when you sow joy into somebody's life, joy has a way of finding you. Joy has a way of knocking on your door. When you sow strength into somebody's life, strength has a way of finding you when you are at your weakest moments, when you're at your lowest moments. I know that to be very, very true. And I can be honest with you all, because as I heard about my grandmother's passing, when I found out about my grandmother's passing, I was traveling and I made a U-turn. Made a U-turn, and I ended up spending a consecutive 11 hours in my car driving to get to my mother. Why? Because I wasn't necessarily concerned about me. My first concern was about my mother. Make sure that you are concerned about other people. So as you're celebrating the strength of family, be the one who pours strength into somebody else. You'll reap what you sow. All right. So that is why it is important to do it. That's why it's important to do it. Cutler, how do I do that? If we're talking about celebrating the strength of family, how do I do that? Show up and offer what you can. I know a lot of times people say, oh, those difficult situations sometimes challenge me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. But think about what goes on in your heart. Think about what you would do if you had more resources. Think about what you would do if you thought you were a little more articulate. Think about what you would do if you could get your thoughts together, and then let the individual know that. Let the individual know that, listen, I feel like I'm in a deficit here because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do, but I do know I want your pain to go away. I do wish I could massage your heart. Just say those things like that. And so then that's how you do that. That's how you handle those difficult moments. But now let's really talk about celebrating the strength of family as we are preparing for the celebration of my grandmother's life. I can't help but be reminded about these wonderful 97 years that she has lived, and that she has poured such a legacy into 4 generations after her. She has children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. And one of the things that we're going to do when we talk about celebrating the strength of the family, we're going to talk about what we have in common. A lot of times when you're celebrating strength of the family, you want to color, how do I do that? Pull your family together and ask yourselves, what is it that we have in common? What do we have that unites us? What do we have that connects us? What do we have? What is the one thing or the 2 or the 3 things we have that we have in common that identifies us as being connected to this root? So think about that. For my family, I'll share this with you. For my family, it is the ability to survive. We have such an amazing survival instinct, and that really pays homage to my grandmother, who had such an amazing survival instinct. By the way, my grandmother's name, they say the saying is that they never die unless we stop calling their name. And so only God knows I will never stop calling my grandmother's name. My grandmother's name is Eunice Boone. And so I celebrate her. I celebrate the memory and the legacy of my grandmother, Eunice Boone. I hope y'all don't mind me sharing this with you all. But she had the ability to she poured into her generations that came after her the ability to survive. How did she do that? I'll tell you this story. My grandmother was born in 1927, and in 1929 she lost her mom. She lost her mother in 1929. Of course, she was way, 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 way too young to have any memories of her mother, but she somehow wanted to be connected. Listen to the story. She somehow wanted to be connected to her mother, and as a young child, she struggled with not having a mother because so many people around her, if all of her relatives around her had their mother, she knew of no other relative who did not have their mother. And what my grandmother would do on occasion, she would go out to the graveyard, to the cemetery where her mother was buried. Isn't this heart? Sometimes it's heart wrenching, but it's also heartwarming. She would go out to the grave where her mother was buried, and she would nap and she would sleep on the grave. That's how much she wanted to connect to this source that was no longer in the earth. So why do I say celebrate family? Celebrate family while you have them. Celebrate family while you can, because they are a force to be reckoned with, and they are a source that you want to stay connected to. She would nap and fall asleep on her mother's grave because she wanted to be connected to someone that she did not know, yet she knew where she'd come from. And what amazes me was that she took all of that pain, she took all of that passion, she took all of those struggles as a child, and she turned it she turned it into the power to survive and the instinct to survive, and she passed that on to her children, and to her children's children, and to her children's children, and to her children's children's children. And so I just wanted to share that I'm celebrating the strength of family. I am celebrating the legacy of my grandmother, Eunice Boone. She was such a beautiful, absolutely beautiful woman. And even at 97, she was still so stunningly beautiful. She had beautiful white hair. Of course, I remember when it was all black, but at 97, it was all white. And she had ponytails that would drop down to here, and her skin was phenomenally smooth. I mean, smoother than mine. At 97, she had all of her teeth, unbelievable. And we will celebrate her. And I just wanted to share this moment with you all. I did not want to not show up, but I wanted to show up and really just dedicate this session to the memory of my grandmother, but also wanted to encourage you all to celebrate the strength of family. Of course, we always say, listen, when they're gone, you miss them. And that is so very true. When they are, Marissa, absolutely 97, such a blessing. And when they are gone, you miss them. I need to also share this part with you. She battled with Alzheimer's, which is an absolutely horrible disease. So if you know someone who's dealing with any form, and Alzheimer's is just one form of dementia, but if you know anyone who's battling with dementia or any form of dementia, or if you know someone who's cared for an individual who's battling with dementia, to the extent that you can, offer a smile, offer a moment of peace, a moment of solace, a moment of hope. So if you get a chance to do that, I think that makes us a better individuals, because we show up better after we've helped people. We show up better after we've shared love. We show up better after we've spread it a little more hope. We show up better after we've spread it a little more peace. So do what you can. Do what you can. I am so thankful that in this moment and in this space, as my family is coming together, we are connecting and reconnecting. And as I think about that, I thought, it would have been a beautiful thing if on a regular basis we can connect and reconnect. So I offer you that. That is what I come with on the platter tonight. That's what I come with in the offering bowl, in the offering table. As much as you can, connect and reconnect, unite and reunite. Don't wait for a tragedy. Don't wait for a death. But honor the strength of ancestry. Honor the spirit of lineage. Honor the spirit of those whose shoulders you stand on, and then pay it forward and be the shoulders that someone else will one day stand on. Be the individual that one day someone else will celebrate, that someone else will pay homage to, and that someone else will honor. I want to thank you all for allowing me to share these moments and just talk about my grandmother, who was again just a wonderful woman, and just a couple of stories. Uh, um, she was really so beautiful, and she was an amazing cook. Now let me tell you these two things, you all, and I'm going to share this. I have the honor and the privilege of the at the celebration service. I have the honor and privilege of doing my grandmother's eulogy. It will be a labor of love, but I will do it. I may share this particular story, these particular stories. My grandmother again was an amazing cook, and she made these wonderful cheese biscuits. She made cheese biscuits from scratch, homemade biscuits from scratch, and she has 10 grandchildren. Um, Three of us uh, lived, for the most part, all of our lives right across the road from her. And then from time to time, there were two other cousins who lived right near her. And then one other cousin was there. But this is what's important. Those cheese biscuits were absolutely amazing. Those cheese biscuits were so good until one of my brothers, and I'm not calling names here, but one of my brothers would take the cheese biscuits and he would go to bed at night. Of course, in the South, once you finish eating, that's it. The dishes are put up and that's it. And the extra food is put away, is put in the pantry, is put in the refrigerator until the next day. One of my brothers enjoyed my grandmother's biscuits so much, Walt, until he would take them to bed. He would hide them in the bed. He would hide them in the bed, and then he would get under the covers late nights, and he would break out the cheese biscuits, and we would hear, because my two brothers, my three brothers, my two brothers and I slept in the same room, and my oldest brother. See, I'm telling you all know who it is because here I go. But anyway, the brother who was not eating the biscuits, he and I, we would hear this other brother just munching on stuff and smacking him. He said, "What in the world is going on?" Come to find out, he had taken the cheese biscuits to bed. They were just that good. Here's another funny story. Thank you all for indulging me. Here's another funny story, though. No one in my family really likes fruitcake. We just don't like fruitcake. Can't stand fruitcake. So when November comes around and we see all these fruitcakes in the store, we go, no, not at all. Well, we say that to fruitcakes that are in the store. But can I tell you, my grandmother used to make the best fruitcake, and the only fruitcake that we ate. Because she based that fruitcake, her bread, the breading was based. She made it with graham crackers. So she would have us listen. We were 5, 6, and 8, or maybe we were 6, 7, and 9. We were that young, and she would have us in there pounding up graham crackers. So when November rolled around, we knew she was getting ready to break out the fruitcake, and so she would go and buy all these boxes of graham crackers, and here we are crushing up this stuff. And when we would go in the store, so we ate a fruitcake, and as we got older, when we go in the store, people say, "This is fruitcake." We were like, "Oh yeah, wonderful! I want to try it." Can I tell you one taste of that fruitcake in the store, and we vowed never to eat fruitcake again. It was horrible. How many of you all like fruitcake? I'm curious. Just want to check and see. So that's two stories about the biscuits, and then about the fruit, and then about the fruitcake. The other thing is that my grandmother was amazing. She had amazing green thumb, and I grew up in the South where we had peach trees and plum trees and black walnut trees and fig trees, and all those grew there on her property. Her property was adjacent to where her grandmother had a home, and so there were things that just grew there. Yeah, Hazel, you like fruitcake? And so my grandmother's home was right there, adjacent to the lot where her grandmother had a home. And that's that's heartwarming. And in that space where my grandmother built a home, and had that home, and the house is there until the day she died. We enjoyed so many just natural fruit. As a matter of fact, we enjoyed blackberries, we enjoyed strawberries, we enjoyed apples, plums, pears, pecans, peaches, figs, black walnuts. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we had that I didn't call out. But as you can imagine, as you can see, having her as a grandmother was just a jewel. It was an absolute delight. And what you all are allowing me to do is to pull these memories up that would give me strength when I eulogize her this coming Friday. May I say thank you for that. And so once again, when I talk about celebrating the strength of family, celebrate the things that make you laugh, celebrate the things that make you smile, celebrate the things that make you think and make you nostalgic. That is how you celebrate the strength of family. What is it that we did for each other and with each other that allowed us to make it through life, just life in general? I'm thinking about every Christmas. Not only do we have the fruitcakes, but we also had traditions. We would decorate, and then on Christmas mornings we would make sure that we would pack up the car and then go to her father's house, which was my great grandfather, and we would celebrate every Christmas there. Make sure that you have stories to tell. Make sure that you're able to talk about what unites you. Learn how to celebrate the strength of family. Learn how to celebrate the strength of family. Again, you all, thank you so much for indulging me. Again, I did not want to just not show up, but I wanted to share with y'all this moment and let you know what my family and I are experiencing. And I want to say to you that even in the midst of the darkest trials that you sometimes go through, you can find a way to smile. You can find a reason to smile. And I wanted to be the example of that, because here I am talking about inspiration, motivation, challenges so much. I wanted to be true to my word. I wanted to live by example and show you that even when life is dark, when life throws you challenges, you could still come out with your shoulders reared back and your head high, and you can smile. But you can smile because of community and village. And why am I saying that? I can smile because of you. You are part of my community. You are a part of my village. So thank you all. Thank you all for, see, you don't necessarily know. I've said this to you all before. I said to you that when I'm reading your comments and I see your name showing up in the chat, I'm strengthened by your presence. May I say to you all that I'm strengthened by your presence. And so what I'm going to do now, I have family. I'm not home. I'm actually at one of my brother's homes. And so I'm now going to go. I decided to come in here to the office and talk with you all. But now I'm going to go out there and just share with them, because they're cooking ribs, they're cooking cabbage, they're cooking some of everything, you all. So I need to just go and share this moment with them. But thank you. Please keep and not just necessarily me, but in particular, my mother. Those of you who know me, you know me well. You know that I'm happy when she's happy. I'm pleased when she's pleased. I'm at peace whenever she is at peace. So please keep my family in your thoughts and in your prayers. And take it from me, you can smile even in the midst of your darkest moments. You can smile even in the midst of your darkest moments. You don't have to be sour. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be gloom and doom all the time, but you can smile in the midst of your darkest moments, and you can learn to celebrate the strength of your family, because the strength of your family is what takes you from one good degree of grace sometimes to the next. Thank you all so much for sharing this space with me. Let's do what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Keep your heads up. Keep your hopes up. Stay safe. Stay sane. And until the next time we talk, tell somebody else, come on and let's talk to Cutler, because this is a real man talking about real situations in the real world. Thank all of you so much, and I'll see you the next time I see you all. Good night.